It's basically like we're entering the era where we're all becoming Iron Man and we have our own personal Jarvis,
The ultimate dream is artificial general intelligence, where we assume that at some point we will reach that.
For the developers who seem to be facing a little bit of anxiety with all of these AI tools and no-code and low-code platforms,
This fear is a common phenomena over ages, right? Like with any technology intervention, we have always kept off, how is this going to impact me, which is very natural and human as well.
what would you say with regards to replacing junior developers?
Development is a mindset. How fast should I build the solution? In my organizational priority, is this more important, less important? All of this is what a developer brings to the table.
What would you say is the future for no-code and low-code platforms like Zoho Creator?
But actually what has happened in reality is
AI is being used for everything, whether it's an inventory management app, whether it's a logistic app, or whether it's an HR app to mark your attendance, or even if it's something personal like an alarm clock or a happiness reminder. AI is used for everything. It seems like you can just prompt and done. You have an application. Now, we at Builder Central have been spending the past 2 to 3 years doing the same things, creating these applications, using these tools, and there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect between AI and no-code and low-code tools like Zoho Creator. So with that being said, does that mean that low-code and no-code tools are done? Are they redundant? Who better to answer these questions than Mr. Bharat? Hi, Mr. Bharat. Thank you for being here with us.
my pleasure, Kadesh.
So, if you wouldn't mind, could you please give your introduction to the camera and then we'll get started.
Hello everyone, Vanakkam. My name is Bharat. I lead the marketing and customer experience initiatives of the developer suite of Zoho. Very happy to be here.
So, we've got Mr. Bharat in studio with us and we've also got this bowl of burning questions. So, Mr. Bharat is going to try his level best to answer all of these questions and clear all of your doubts and mine as well. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, we'll start with the first question. How have low-code platforms evolved over time?
A very good question to start with. So initially low-code platforms used to be seen as an option to build some simple toy applications and then gradually gain more power and more adoption. Now low-code platforms are being used to build mission-critical core applications inside the organization as well. So from the governance, from the security angle as well, I think that's how I've seen the platforms evolve from being simple toy applications to mission-critical powerful solutions.
And do you have any personal experience with the kind of tools and what they used to be and what they are today?
There are multiple organizational use cases that I can share, but one thing that I'm personally proud of is when COVID stuck, the Chennai Corporation, I come from Chennai Corporation wanted to build an app for vaccination on Tamil, which was built on the low-code platform Zoho Creator. More than 180,000 people got vaccinated through that portal. So those, can it get any more critical than an application like that? So that's the
brilliant.
Possibility. Yeah.
That is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. I'm so glad I asked that follow-up question. Insane. All right, now we're moving on to the next question. What are the most common cases of apps built using no-code or low-code platforms?
I would put them into, let's say, 3 major buckets. First is internal apps. If you're having some processes, approvals, let's say happening through emails or Excel sheets, etc. So internal process approval apps. So that is one. Second, you have your own IT maturity, but let's say you want to provide the right access, right tools to your partners, your vendors, your suppliers. So we have a concept called portals. Low-code platforms have this concept called portals. So that is the second set of applications that are built. Third are like the mission critical core applications. You may be using, let's say, an ERP solution inside the organization. You may want to modernize it, you may want to extend it. So applications like that are also built on low-code platforms. So these are the common use cases.
What low-code platform would you recommend to the users if they wanted to use any of these portals?
There are multiple platforms available in the market. I represent this product called Zoho Creator. Microsoft Power Apps is a platform that we hugely respect. But Mendix, OutSystems, Microsoft Power Apps, Zoho Creator, these are some applications that I can think of.
All right, on to the next question, ladies and gentlemen. Are apps built using no-code, low-code platforms secure?
Definitely, yes. I think for low-code, no-code platforms to exist, to survive and grow, governance, security, compliance is the major differentiator.
Absolutely.
Because you are giving access to everybody to build. Unless you have the confidence that this platform is secure, is compliant with my privacy standards, etc., people will not adopt the platforms. So low-code platforms squarely focus on the security aspect. So applications built on that, obviously different platforms, you'll have to go through a evaluation curve, but definitely low-code platforms, applications built on low-code platforms are secure and can be used for any application in your organization.
Fair enough. You've heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so now we're moving on to the next question. All right, so with AI taking over, what would you say is the future for no-code and low-code platforms like Zoho Creator?
There was a phase where there was this thought on, is AI going to replace low-code, no-code platforms? But actually what has happened in reality is AI has added power to low-code, no-code platforms. In the sense that low code helps you build through visual blocks like that. Now low code helps you build through AI components, you prompt, you upload your flowchart and things get built. But the other aspects like maintenance, security, deployment, mobile apps, which are what low code platforms were taking care of earlier, they still continue to do that. So actually the more powerful AI becomes, low code platforms will also become powerful as AI grows.
So it's a beautiful symbiotic relationship over there. On to the next question. Will low code and no code platforms and AI tools replace senior developers?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I would say this with my eyes closed. Definitely not. This is another tool in your kitty to build faster. This is another tool to empower you. The DNA of an application building thinking, how to structure, how to give access, etc. You still need developers to manage that level of applications. So low code will never replace senior developers.
And for the developers who seem to be facing a little bit of anxiety with all of these AI tools and no code and low code platforms, what would you say to these people in order for them to get over that anxiety of being replaced?
This anxiety, this fear is a common phenomena over ages, right? Like with any technology intervention, we have always kept off, how is this going to impact me, which is very natural and human as well. But what has happened in reality is, like I said, this is another way to build. This is another tool in your repository to get things done. So this, as long as you are updating yourself, as long as you are updated with the skill sets, you don't have to be worried about how this is going to impact me.
100%. Awesome. On to the next question. All right. So this is specific for Zoho Creator. Are there industry-specific templates within the Zoho Creator portals?
Zoho Creator is a industry agnostic platform, but for the ease of go-to-market, we have picked a few industries. So manufacturing, because we see that no two manufacturing companies work the same. There's a lot of manual data that happens. So low-code platforms are a good value add for manufacturing industry. So we have built a comprehensive manufacturing solution, which companies can adopt, edit, tune to their needs and get started. So it's like an easy jump start to get started with. Education is another vertical in which we have built some apps. We are also working on logistics and asset management as we speak to build applications in these. All of these are easy for any user to get started with, but you can customize it as per your needs. So that's the plan.
Incredible, incredible. So you've heard it here first. Please make sure that you use Zoho Creator for any of your manufacturing needs and you'll be sorted. All right, next question. So we've covered the aspect of senior developers. What would you say is the effect that these low-code or no-code platforms will have with regards to replacing junior developers?
Development is a mindset. How do you structure your application? How do I gather the requirement? How fast should I build the solution? In my organizational priority, is this more important, less important? All of this is what a developer brings to the table, not just writing the code, right? This thinking, this orientation of how do I approach the solution building is very, very critical, which cannot be replaced by any platform. So in that sense, be it junior or senior developers, low-code platforms will not be a threat. Based on how the industry evolves, as long as we are updating ourselves with respect to learning those tools and capabilities, there is no threat for us.
On to the next question. How is vibe coding different from using no-code or low-code platforms?
Vibe coding is much simpler, much powerful. You can get things in faster in a jiffy. Low-code platforms are faster than traditional methods, but I would say maybe a little, there's a small delta difference between vibe coding and low-code platforms. But the major difference being in a vibe coding platform, I would like to call it sort of a black box, where you tell the system something and the system builds it for you and you use it. Whereas in low-code platforms, it generates components. So you are still in control in terms of how you want to edit, how you want to deploy, and so on. So let's say when you want to make changes, when you want to upgrade, etc., it is much more easier in a low-code like setup. So that's the difference.
On to the next question. What are your thoughts on the new browsers released by OpenAI and Perplexity, and how do you think that these are going to affect no-code and low-code platforms?
When you think of it, it's just OpenAI releasing an Atlas browser or Perplexity releasing a Comet browser. But I feel all of these are interconnected then. For example, even Zoho has our own browser called Ula. Why do these things matter is because you can build applications in any means, but how are you going to consume? Mostly are consuming, because SaaS applications you are consuming on a browser.
Correct.
At least if I can speak for Zoho's philosophy, is I don't want to build applications, or I don't want to just give a platform for you to build applications and then leave the consumption part in someone else's hand. In the sense that when you have an issue, we don't want to say, hey, it works in my browser, it works in my computer. You know, that's the typical IT admin response, right? So how can I be in control of every aspect that will impact my user experience. Okay, my user has built the app. Now they are going to consume in the browser. How will it work? What can I learn from it? How can I make it faster? How can I make it easier? Even learning from the browser angle as well is why Zoho is invested in a browser like Ula. I'm sure thoughts of other players like Atlas and Comet are also coming from that angle on how do I ensure the whole supply chain I'm in control of to ensure I make the user experience better. So I think that's how I see it.
So Zoho has launched its own LLM by the name of Zia. How do you see it competing with the other LLMs that are currently there in the market, like OpenAI's, etc., etc.?
The major difference being this is a very B2B focused thought process in the sense that Zoho runs multiple business apps.
Yep.
So these the AI capabilities, the LLM support that is required for these applications, I think how we have approached Zia is how can Zia make those applications powerful? How can we make that user experience smarter, better, and so on? Some of the other AI tools out there, LLMs out there in the market are for general, like you can search for multiple needs, but what we are looking at, it is a very B2B context. So our AI thought process is obviously Zoho's philosophy of privacy, security, and all focused, but even more B2B use case focused, small language model focused to see how can we increase the impact of the business applications that we have for the market.
All right, now I have a small follow-up with this. Considering that you're saying that Zia right now is mainly focused on B2B, sometime in the future, do you see that you're going to do a B2C model or a D2C model in terms of creating an LLM?
Definitely, see, the extension will happen in the sense that now I'm sure many of our viewers would know that the Aratai app, which is a typical B2C application, right? Where it's like a WhatsApp where you can have one-on-one conversations. Obviously, our Zia engine will continue to serve other applications that we roll out in the future as well. But the learning curve currently is focused predominantly on the B2B applications that we have. How do I make a Zoho CRM much more powerful? How do I have an agent studio, which is our agent building platform? How do I give immense power and potential to that through our LLM capabilities? That's the approach that Zoho is taking with respect to our Zia investments.
Understood. Thank you. All right, on to the next question. Are LLMs going to get more powerful with each upgrade that comes out in the market?
Definitely, yes. See, ultimate dream is artificial general intelligence, where we assume that at some point we will reach that. So naturally, every transition that we are making in terms of AI will take us one step closer to that. My feeling is we have gone through the AI hype wave, and now we are starting to apply it for my industry, my function, my department, my use case, and naturally the depth will start to come. It's not just the umbrella level AI capabilities. How is it relevant to me as a marketer? How is it making my life better? How is it relevant to me as a developer? How is it relevant to a manufacturing company? When we start to get into that nitty-gritties, I think AI capabilities will become much more deeper and powerful, and naturally every LLM rollout will be much more powerful than the previous ones.
Incredible. I'm looking forward to it. All right, on to the next question. AI agents are becoming more and more popular. And how is Zoho Creator taking these AI agents and managing them and deploying them within its own ecosystem?
I would answer this in two parts. One is from a Zoho Creator angle, another from the Zoho angle.
All right.
From a Zoho Creator angle, Zoho Creator is a low-code platform. So what is happening is now, any low-code platform, when you build a form, you build a report, you build dashboards. So the system is generating those things. What we are doing is, now currently is, can the system also generate agents? Can the system understand that, hey, this application is meant for some manufacturing inventory management process, let's say. Can I build an agent that will check inventory and give you an alert that, hey, your stock is going down, etc. So in the low-code environment, how can we support you with agents that are relevant to that business need? So that is the Zoho Creator approach.
Understood.
Zoho is doing a larger agent building approach, like without in putting in any specific restriction. Yeah, an open canvas for you to build the agents that you want for your business application. So we call it Agent Studio, using which you can build the agents that you will need for your business applications. Exactly.
Incredible. Yeah. Incredible. Wow. All right, on to the next question. Okay, now this I'm very curious to know. What are your predictions on the near future with an intersection of low-code, AI, and no-code tools?
I think with AI becoming more and more powerful, naturally low-code, no-code platforms that are adopting those fundamental tenets of AI also will become more powerful. That is one. From an application building aspect, there are multiple areas, right? So we call it ADLM, Application Development Lifecycle Management.
All right.
So how you think, how you put ideas together, then how do you collect requirements, and then how do you convert it as the fundamental structure of an application, then how do you build, how do you deploy, how do you consume. These are the different phases in application building. Currently, a lot of it is focused on code. How do you generate code, how do you activate code easily, and so on. And a little bit of focus on the other areas, but I think the future is going to be all these aspects, not just the building part, the ideation part, the documentation part, the requirement gathering part, bringing people together, the collaboration part, AI capabilities in all these aspects, in testing, in maintenance, systems giving you alert in terms of maintenance and testing also. It's not completely new. It's not like nothing is happening in those places now. It is happening, but like how coding, the noise and the energy around coding through AI exploded in the recent times.
Correct.
I believe other aspects also will be impacted or hit by AI and made much more powerful and much more easier for everybody. So I think then the true vision of all these platforms, be it AI or low-code, no-code platforms, to enable everybody to build, irrespective of your technical expertise, I think that will become much more stronger and much more powerful.
And yes, I definitely agree with that, because I mean, even if you're looking at the no-code tools and the low-code tools that were available like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there was a little bit of a learning curve with those, because it was a little difficult for the non-technical people to grasp it.
Yeah.
But now it's a lot easier for those same non-technical people to grasp it, because those companies have understood that, hey, we need to make sure that it is compatible for the people who are non-technical. So I can definitely see this happening as well.
Correct. So as a non-technical person, the tool is giving me the code. Okay, done.
Correct.
Then how do I edit it, or how do I
ensure that it's right, make sure there's no syntax errors, this or the other.
Correct. So I built something 3 months back. Now I need to go back and can I just prompt the system to make the edits? Can I just prompt the system to add code? Can I prompt the system to add comments? Can I ask the system to self-evaluate itself and tell me that if it's secure? No, those are the things I think will come in times to come.
It's basically like we're entering the era where we're all becoming Iron Man and we have our own personal Jarvis, you know?
Yeah.
Like we can just be able to talk to our computer, do this, and everything will be there right in front of us.
Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, I'm very excited for this world. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the segment of the rapid fire questions from the general audience that we have here at Builder Central. But I have a very personal question that I would like to ask you. What is the difference between AI and no code and low code?
Got it. See, AI is the fundamental way to get things done, in the sense that there is an AI capability, let's say, for grammar check. You feed something to the, let's call it an AI genie. The genie will check the paragraph and tell you, hey,
this word is wrong.
This is 9 out of 10 in terms of grammar, etc. So that's a capability. How will you consume it? Let's say a thing like a ChatGPT, a tool like a ChatGPT, you directly interact. From a business application point of view, inside your CRM, inside your invoicing solution, inside your financing solution, how do these capabilities get included? Which is where these low-code, no-code platforms also will come into play. In the sense that you are building a module in which you will say these are the fundamental blocks of this module, and you will bring that AI capability inside the module. So it becomes relevant to that context. So in the sense that you have lines of code earlier, but for a specific module, you used those lines of code for a certain function. Similarly, AI is doing certain things. You take the capabilities of AI and make it easy for the users to consume through a low-code, no-code approach. That is what these platforms actually do. So these coexist. As AI becomes more and more powerful, like grammar check, if AI can do 1,000 other things, those 1,000 other things can be consumed, incorporated easily inside low-code, no-code platforms. So the platforms also will become more and more powerful.
Incredible. My doubts are cleared. My enthusiasm is extremely high for the future of technology, and I am so grateful that we've had the time to have this conversation. Thank you so much for being a part of this, Mr. Bharat.
Thank you, Kadesh. It's my pleasure as well. Any comments, any questions that you have, what more do you want to listen to, feel free to let us know in our comments.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to work with Kadesh and see how we can support.
Absolutely. And if you like this format of video, please let us know in the comments who you would like us to have a discussion with next, and let's see if we can make it happen. And until next time, keep building and keep experimenting.
Thank you.
Perfect.